Hello world, my name is John, and this is a story of my crazy life, and this is part six, numero seis. All right, so um, in my last recording, I was talking about how I decided to leave the United States and go back home to Czechia after 18 years and apply for an investor's visa, E2 visa. All right, so one day eventually I have decided to get on the bus and on a Greyhound bus and travel across the country from Washington, from Fayetteville through Washington D.C. to Washington State, all the way to Bellingham, Washington, and then I took a local bus to Blaine, Washington. And let me tell you, traveling with a Greyhound bus, uh, it's a terrible experience, man. It was the first time and last time I've done it. I'll never do it again. If I ever need to travel in within United States, I will either go by a car or a plane, or maybe a train. I don't know. I don't have any experience with the train, but I'm 100% sure I will never take a Greyhound bus or some other buses. I don't have any experience with another transportation companies. So Greyhound bus is terrible. I mean, the only people that travel on Greyhound bus, at least majority of them, are like drug addicts and homeless people traveling from coast to coast, and maybe some poor people or whatever. Everybody smells really bad, and crazy people. Most I'm not saying all the Greyhound stations are in bad shape and are dirty. Some of them are in pretty good shape and new stations. Um, and But most of the Greyhound stations are pretty old and dirty places to be. Um, but anyway, the Greyhound buses are so uncomfortable to travel in, especially the seats that are mostly made of slippery material, and the seats are not keeping their shape. I mean, you sit on the seat and the bottom part of the seat just uh, lowers forward, and you keep sliding down, and you are basically unable to take any comfortable position to sit or relax, or to get a nap or whatever. It's so uncomfortable. Everybody was complaining about sliding down the seat. Every time the bus goes over uneven pavement, or breaks down or whatever. And it was painstaking experience. I got so stiff and tired, and I was so happy that after 4 days I finally got off that bus, and and then I jumped. I illegally crossed the Canadian border. All right. So in Blaine, when I arrived, I waited about 30 minutes for Uber to pick me up and drive me to as close to the border as possible. He dropped me off at a parking lot in between apartment buildings, and I just I had my GoPro camera on and I was recording everything, and I was so nervous to cross that border, and jump that ditch, and but I did it, and I was so afraid that I'll get stopped by border patrol, but none of the border patrol vehicles were there. And at one time I got really scared because when we were approaching the border, and I saw I was sitting in the rear seat, and I saw in the rear view mirror. Uh, Actually, I saw a cop coming from across the street on the intersection, and I saw a SUV Ford Explorer, a sheriff, a local sheriff department, and then I saw the cop car, pulling behind us and driving slowly behind us, and I was praying, just don't turn those lights on, man. I was so scared at that moment that he's gonna pull us over, and I told the Uber driver, just pull in there in between the buildings, just pull in there to the left, like, don't, I didn't want him to like drop me off on the street at the street. So I told him to pull in inside, in between the buildings, and luckily the cop car just kept going, and it was a big relief for me. So then I got a car, got my bag, and I was looking around if there's any cops or border patrol, but I didn't see anybody. So I crossed that lawn and jumped that ditch, and it was so quiet. It was like 6 o'clock in the evening. It was really cold. It was dark. It was November 7th, I think, or 8th, yeah, in the evening, and it was really cold. It was freezing. It was like below 30. I think it was like 30 Fahrenheit, or maybe less. I mean, it was unusually cold. Even the Uber driver told me that usually at this period of time, it doesn't get this cold, and it was freezing, and I just jumped that ditch, and I was in Canada just like that, and it was so quiet. It was so quiet. I there was no cars coming passing by. There was no people, so I just walked between the houses. There's like a walk path, like a sidewalk that cars cannot get on, and I just walk a couple of blocks, and I found my Airbnb place that I had booked, and I had a code to the lockbox. I didn't even have to like check in or whatever. I didn't have to notify nobody. Uh, I had an apartment going down the basement, and there was a lockbox on the rail, and so I opened the lockbox, got the key out, unlocked the door, and I was in Canada. Man, I was so happy that I didn't get caught, and I successfully immigrated from United States to Canada. I illegally crossed the border. Like, I'm not that type of person that would normally do that, but due to all the circumstances, I have decided to do it, and I've done it. I did it. I'm the one. I'm guilty. You can lock me up. I admit everything. And it's kind of funny that the American Canadian border is so unsecured. I mean, I just could have smuggled like 10 kilos of cocaine from United States to Canada, and nobody would even know. This is crazy. This is crazy how the border is unsecured, and I might just be, a terrorist, or national security threat, or whatever, you know. And so I got a shower, I was processing everything in my head. I recorded everything on a video that's currently online on YouTube. It's in my native language, in Czech language. It's on my Czech channel. Uh, I was processing everything. I was trying to get some rest. I ate, got shower, and I went to bed, got some sleep. And I got up in the morning and I got in touch with the homeowner, with the landlord. It was a Chinese girl, Chinese woman, and I asked her if she can give me a ride to a bus stop, so I can take a bus and then a train to Vancouver. And I also didn't have any Canadian money, Canadian dollars, so I asked her if she's got some. And she went back in the house and she scrapped $5.60, and I gave her some American dollars in exchange for that. And she had a BMW X5, and she drove me to a bus stop, and I paid for the fucking bus ticket that cost $2.75. I think I paid $4. There's like a little metal box, and you put a change in it, and I didn't know how much value the Canadian coins have, because I never saw one, and I wasn't like really studying, how much it is. So I put in like two Canadian dollars coins, and I was expecting the driver to give me a change back, and he didn't give me any change. So basically, I paid $4 for a ticket that cost $2.75. Anyway, I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just didn't understand why he wouldn't give me any change. I guess they were not carrying any cash money on them, the drivers. So then I arrived at a train station. It was like by a big casino, hotel, resort. I don't remember the name, but probably people know what I'm talking about. There's a big casino, and it's full of Chinese and Indian people gambling. I guess all the rich people from China and India come to Canada, Vancouver, and gamble. I guess it's legal, gambling in Vancouver. So, man, the casino was. I mean, I felt like I'm in Hong Kong, man. There was Chinese signs, I think it was like a little China, and and I did some research online, and and yeah, Vancouver is basically like a Chinese suburb, and all the real estate values going up because of the Chinese people, keep investing there in real estate. And I've seen some videos on YouTube that they spent, tons of money, buying the houses and raising the prices up and the values. And some of the streets are just ghost streets that, and local Canadian people cannot afford the mortgages anymore because of that. And it's crazy story. I mean, you can look it up online on YouTube. Anyway, I went into that casino because I needed to get some Canadian dollars. So I went to the cashier. They called it a cage, where you can change the chips for money, or money for chips. And they also had a currency exchange. So I got like 20 Canadian dollars, so I can pay for the train to Vancouver downtown. All right, so I drove to Vancouver downtown, and on the train station down there, I couldn't find lock boxes so I could lock my heavy bag, and so I don't have to drag it with me while walking downtown. So I couldn't find any lock boxes there. So I thought I'm gonna spend like a couple of hours downtown, and walk around town and see something, take some pictures. But with that bag, and I was so tired, and I've decided to not do it. So I just walked like just one block, and then I went back to the waterfront, took some pictures and selfies, and then I went back to the train station, got a burger, got me a burger, and then I took the train back to the airport. All right. So at the airport, I was afraid that because I only had a temporary passport. Everything is like handwritten and no stamps or nothing. I didn't have no Canadian visa or whatever. So I was afraid that the attendant, or the check-in attendant, will be asking questions like where's my they also have like a white card, like similar to what you need to fill out when you go to the United States. So I was afraid that I might get in trouble, and they'll be checking on me, and like well, when I came in Canada, and how and such, and in the passport I had like it was issued in Washington D.C. It wasn't even issued in Canada, the temporary passport. It wasn't issued in Czech. So I was wondering, if they're gonna be asking about it. And the lady, she didn't give me any hard time. I just told her, I lost everything. I lost my cards. I lost my passport. I lost my money, and she just felt, compassionate. She felt sorry for me, so she didn't give me any trouble. So I didn't have any trouble, checking in, and eventually I got on the plane, and I flew through Calgary uh, uh, when I had a overlay, and I was changing planes in Calgary, and then from Calgary to London. So I didn't have any problems getting out of Canada, uh, and then in London. Uh, I didn't have any trouble there too. I just explained everybody again that I lost my passport. I had to get a new one, and I didn't have any problems there either. Then I was trying to find a plane to Prague, uh, and and my next plane was like in 6 or 7 hours, so I had to spend quite a time at the London airport. But eventually, I got on the plane, and flew to Prague. Then again in Prague, when I was entering back to my country, I again explained, I lost my passport, and the guy, he just smiled, nobody really cared. I changed American dollars for Czech money. I got on the bus, got on the subway. Uh, it was already like at night, and then I got on a train from Prague to Havířov, where I'm at right now, to my hostel or hostel, whatever, and I got here about 5 o'clock in the morning, totally beat up and tired, and I just went, straight to bed, and I woke up about 6 hours later, and that's when I actually started working on getting my visa, my E2 visa application together. Okay, so first thing I had to do was to apply for new ID, Czech ID, Czech driver's license, birth certificate, and after I had these done in about 3 weeks, then I could apply for my passport, my E2 visa. So I had my driver's license, my Czech ID, my birth certificate, and my passport done in 3 weeks. In those 3 weeks, I was basically just killing time. I enrolled in local gym, and I was going to gym, and I was trying to get some rest and sleep, and I was going running in the forest, and I was cooking, and also I was trying to get something worked out with a girl I know in Vienna, Austria. Uh, I met this girl online back in 2008, and I instantly fell in love with her. And ever since that day, I was trying to figure out how the hell I'm gonna meet, this girl, because ever since ever since the first moment we started talking, we just clicked, and I felt like really strong connection, like we could tell, everything to each other, and I was so in love with her, and I wanted to meet her. Eventually, 4 years later, we've met in New York, and it didn't go well. So right now, five and a half years later, I wanted to meet this girl again. We were trying to kind of stay in touch, like once a month or once in couple of weeks. We would send each other like a voice recording, and so we were like kind of staying in touch. And I told her I'm coming to Czechia, and when I got back, I told her I want to see you. Uh, I wanted to see her before Christmas, you know, because that's a nice time. It's a romantic time. It's and in Vienna they have these beautiful Christmas markets. So I had this idea that we could meet up, go to a Christmas market, and get some punch, get drunk, and talk, catch up. Uh, you know, I had this long time dream that ever since I met her in 2008, I was always dreaming about going to Vienna one day uh, to visit her, and that was the day. This was the time when I wanted to do it. For the first time, I've been thinking about it for 9.5 years that I'm gonna do it, and I wanted to plan that with her. So she called me one day on by the way, her name is Dominique, and Dominique called me one day on the FaceTime, and we were talking a little bit, and she was of course surprised that I'm here, and we were all like cool, and she told me I'll get back with you in a couple of days, like Monday, Tuesday. I'll call you, let you know when we can meet, because she keeps saying, how busy she is and how little time she has and all that, and I knew she has a boyfriend. They've been together for like 3.5 years, and and she told me, I'll call you in a couple of days and arrange for something. But she never called me. So Monday, Tuesday, she didn't uh, call me, and then on Wednesday I decided to record her a voice message just to remind her, she never got back to me, So I was waiting for 2, 3 weeks for her to get back with me and schedule for the visit, and she never got back to me. So I decided I'm not gonna call her again. I'm just gonna leave it like it is, and if she doesn't call me like till the last day before Christmas, I'm just gonna get on the train and go to Vienna and surprise her. Okay. so so that's what I did. She didn't call me or anything. So on December 23rd, I've decided to just get on a train and go there. But first thing I have to tell that I really needed her to call me so I can plan this ahead. So I save some money on traveling on the train. Okay, because if I was gonna get the early ticket, it would cost me about 50% of what I would pay when I buy the ticket the same day I travel. So uh, so in the end, the travel cost me like twice as much, you know, than what it would cost me if I planned it like 3 days ahead. Okay, that was one of the reasons I needed her to let me know in advance, like when she wanna see me, because I didn't have much money to spend uh, on extra expenses like this. I only had enough money for me for my food, for my accommodation. Uh, my hostel was not really expensive. It was like $7 a day, but still, it was expensive for me, and I only had total of $6,000 to do all that, including the plane tickets, bus tickets, accommodation, food, and everything. So I only had $6,000 to be able to apply for my visa and fly back to United States with my visa. So I didn't want to spend too much money. So I was trying to shave the expenses wherever I could. Anyway, so on December 23rd, I got on the train and I drove to Vienna, and I did the typical tourist stuff. I went to St. Joseph Dome. I got some Christmas pictures with all the beautiful lights, and I walked a lot around the city center, and I went to a Christmas market, and I did that all by myself. And before I left, I knew that the weather is not gonna be any good. That it's supposed to be raining and cold. I mean, all those days before, I was hoping she called me because the weather was nice, but she didn't call me. So I've decided on the worst weather possible to go there. So I got all wet. I got soaked. Uh, my camera was getting constantly, rained on. So I couldn't really, keep it outside. So every time I took a picture, I put it back in my bag, and then I pull it out again, take a picture. So that's how I was enjoying my Christmas Vienna, all wet. And I wasn't. It wasn't just me there. There was plenty of other tourists, also getting all wet, and they had umbrellas, and most of the people didn't have any umbrellas. So it wasn't just me getting cold and wet. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that it was the worst possible day to go there. But I did my tourist stuff, and then about 5 o'clock, I decided I'll go to her place. Well, first of all, I need to mention I didn't know where she lives because she never gave me a address of this apartment. I had addresses from her other places. She used to live, with her mother at another apartment, but they moved out, and she moved back to their old apartment where she used to live when she was little. So her mother was keeping that apartment for some years, probably just for her, so she could eventually move back in there. I don't know, but I never knew address of this particular apartment, so I didn't know where she lived, and she never gave me this address. But at one uh, time, she sent me pictures of of her apartment. She bought a new sofa and new coffee table made out of wine boxes. And she sent me one time she sent me pictures of her dresses. Like, she didn't know what to wear for a ball. She sent me two dresses, one red and one black. She was trying on some dresses, and I told her, I mean, you should definitely get the red one. So she did wear the red dress on the ball, and it was like a year ago. Like, it was like in February 2017. And so she wore I remember she wore the red dress, and she looked, stunning. And I told her, you're gonna be the only one wearing red dress on that ball, so you should wear it. And she's a beautiful woman. And so she did wear it. And those pictures that she sent me had GPS tags on it. So that's how I actually found her place. So I took a subway, the U-Bahn, U-Bahn, they call it U-Bahn, uh, to her place. And I actually didn't find it at the first try. I was looking at the wrong area. And also on my phone I don't have a cell signal, so I was trying to get on Wi-Fi and preload the maps. So eventually I found the place. And on the outside of the building, like by the door, they have the doorbells buttons, you know, for all the apartments. And on the very top it said her mother's last name. So I was like, this must be it. Like, I wasn't 100% sure, but this would be like too big a coincidence. Like, if I would just if I wouldn't find it, I mean, this must be it. So I decided to wait there. And I mean, my feet hurt, and my shoes were all wet and soaked. And I was so cold, and it was still raining. And I was trying to not look too suspicious, for all other people just walking by. I didn't want anybody to be wondering, like, who I am and what I'm doing there, like why I am waiting there for so long. I've been waiting there for like 3.5 hours, and there's like a police station right on the corner of that house. And sometimes I would just walk around the house and back and forth and back to the metro station to see if I don't see her over there, because I didn't know if she's at home or not. I didn't know what floor she's on, and if her lights are on or not. So I really didn't know where she was, if she was at home or at work or whatever. Okay, so I was just waiting and waiting and waiting if she comes home or goes out. I didn't know. And then, I had a train ticket booked back to Czech from Vienna back to Havířov at like 11:55 at night. I don't remember, but at a certain time I would have to leave. So I told myself, like, 9 o'clock. If she doesn't come, I'll leave. And she came. she came from work like 5 minutes, before I said I'm leaving. 5 minutes and I'm leaving, and she came. And that was the moment I was waiting for over 5 years, to see this girl again. And for me it was like really huge deal. And I've been visualizing this scenario for so long. But of course, everything went differently than what I visualized. First of all, I wanted to see her like officially, Like I didn't want to like just show up and surprise her. I wanted her really to let me know like when she wants to see me before Christmas, so we can have a good time and talk, and so I can give her a gift. I bought her a book, but she let me wait, and she didn't call me, or she didn't let me know anything. Like she wouldn't even email me like I'm sorry I don't have time or whatever. She just she just played a dead bug, and that's probably because she never wanted to see me or whatever. But I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit. I wanted to go through. I wanted to proceed with my long year dream to go there and visit her. It was a thing that I had to do, and I did it. I've done it, and I saw her, and that was the moment I finally saw her, and I realized again how beautiful she was, and she has beautiful hair, and she has a great personality, and she recognized me right there, right on the spot. I was like standing there by the door, all tired and exhausted. I was like, you know, I was ready to go home and get some sleep, and she showed up, and she was like, "Hey, no, no." First she said, "Guten Tag" or something, in German, and then because she speaks German, and then she said, "Oh, that's you." So she recognized me, and we started talking, and I apologized that I showed up like that, and I didn't want to like scare her or whatever, or make her feel uncomfortable. I know in certain way it was really uncomfortable for her, and she didn't really have time for me. She had like 10 minutes maybe, because she was heading out to some Christmas party celebration. So she let me uh, in her apartment, which I really appreciated, that she didn't kick me out. I really appreciated that she talked to me, and we got along, and I didn't want to make this feel awkward for her or me or whatever. I just wanted it to be like normal situation, but it wasn't normal. It kind of was awkward, but anyway, she handled it great, and I was trying to be natural, and I know she was trying to be natural, but I know she was surprised. And we talked about 10 minutes. I gave her the gift. She opened it like really quickly. I wanted to tell her like don't open it yet. Just wait for the Christmas tree, and she opened it right away. And I don't even know if she liked it or not. I bought her a book in Czech. It was some kind of mystery story about perfumes, and it had some perfume samples in it, and so it was supposed to smell good. And I don't even know if she's ever gonna read it or smell it or whatever. Maybe she threw it away. I don't know. But we talked about 10 minutes, and then I walked her out to the place where she was going for the Christmas party, and I asked her, "Hey, can I take a selfie with you?" And she was like, "No, no, I know you. What are you afraid of? I'm gonna post it somewhere." I'm not gonna post it anywhere. I was just gonna keep it, as a memory, because there was no guarantee if I ever see her again. And I saw her after 5.5 years, and I saw her for 10 minutes, and I didn't have, any kind of guarantee that I'll ever see her again. So I wanted to take a selfie with her, take a picture, so I have some kind of memory, just to remind me of this crazy journey and this crazy story, and that I decided, to go to Vienna, and fulfill my 9.5 year dream. So anyway, my dream came true. I did it. I went there, and I saw the girl, and for me, it would have been kind of closed story for me, but I didn't feel satisfied with just 10-minute conversation. So I've decided, I have to do this again, and I'm gonna talk about this later in my next video, because this got 40 minutes, man, and I'm gonna close it right now, and I'm gonna record another part right after this.